Welcome back to the video of DDRP. I'm Dakota.
And I'm Bryson.
In our last video, we shared some more interesting facts that we found out about our car, and that performed us to take apart the rear brakes, suspension, and differential. Since then, we found out that the original rear drum brakes were 9-inch drums. Our uncle tells us that most of these cars had 9-inch drum brakes in the front and back, and they came in a single start-stop reservoir power brake unit. Here's a picture from our car. The stopping power on these cars wasn't that great, especially with wet road conditions. So since our differentials were 1970 Mopar A body, it has the 10-inch drums in the back, and the previous owner already obtained the dual reservoir brake booster that hopefully still works and fits. Here's a picture of that. Combined with a larger disc brake in the front, this car should have a much better stopping power, and as a result, it will be safer to drive. But the brake and booster lines are a project for another day.
So in today's video, we'll be showing a lot of pictures with some video intermixed in between. Yeah, I did a bad job of documenting along the way. But once again, there were lots of parts that we purchased for the rear end rebuild. So I'll do my best to link everything that we purchased in the description. We hope you enjoyed today's video, and please, if you like this video, give us a big thumbs up, like, subscribe, and share. So thanks for watching. So this is only the second time I paid a mechanic for some help so far. And this was on the axle shafts. So these shafts have a bearing and a collar that I showed I cut off in the last video. Well, I needed help from the mechanic to press those bearings and collars back on. So I took it to the shop, and honestly, I was expecting it to take a little bit longer, but he had it done in about 20 minutes. So here's a picture of what it looks like now.
We're working on restoring the axle.
Yep, the rear differential. And to do that, we have our differential over here. There's a number of things we're going to be doing today. So first and foremost is we're going to be starting off by putting on our gaskets and then the backing plate, and then we've got our axle shaft that we're going to install. After we do that to both sides, we've got a new gasket for the axle cover, and we've got our seal, and then we're going to put the cover on, button everything up, and then we've got our drum brake assembly. I've got a partially assembled drum brake assembly here, and then we've got our self-adjuster and spring kits over here. One of the things that, as I was looking at it today, noticed is that our parking brake cable for at least the driver's side is not working very well. So we just ordered some new ones, but they're not going to be in for about a week or two. So we're going to get as far as we can today and go from there. So we'll take a picture when it's all put together.
This is a picture of the brake lines we installed. They didn't fit perfectly, so we had to bend them in a few places to fit the profile of our differential, but it all turned out okay in the end.
So for the rear leaf springs, we used a drill to make holes in the old bushings and the rubber. And, you know, with a little bit of prodding, those old bushings and leaf springs came out. The front bushings had also a metal sleeve, and we had to use a metal cutting sawzall and chisel to remove those. And we showed a portion of that in our last video as well. So I ordered a bushing kit for the Dart to replace the ones that we had removed, but I didn't even think to check what size bushings I would need, assuming that they would all fit the 66 Dart. So when I got the bushing kit, the front bushings did not fit. They were too small, probably because, again, our rear end came from a 1970s Mopar and we have a 1966 Dart. So I wound up returning the front bushings, which were 1.5 inch, and I purchased the 2-inch bushings instead, and those ones fit perfectly. So we also used AutoZone's Loan-A-Tool program, and we got a ball joint press, which we used to press in those front bushings into the leaf springs. Just to, if we ever have to remove them again, we used some anti-seize grease as well and lubricated the inside of that leaf spring ring before we push those bushings in. When I purchased this Dart from the previous owner, one of the upgrades they did was to put in a new gas tank. But as you can see, there's no sending unit for the gas tank. So I purchased a new sending unit with lock ring and grommet from eBay, and then a 5/16 fuel line from Amazon. So that's the project today, is to install the new sending unit and fuel line.
While rebuilding the rear differential, we found this metal tag at the bottom of the axle cover that showed the number 2.76. In researching this, we found out that this has to do with the gear ratio. This is a 3-spread automatic rear wheel drive car. The 2.76 means you'll take 2.76 revolutions of the drive shaft for 1 full revolution of the tires. This is one of the reasons that it does matter what size rims and tires you put on the car, because it can affect the gas mileage, odometer numbers, and RPMs while coasting.
So now with the rear end done, all that's left to do is put the wheels back on. We finished all this in March of 2024, so earlier this year. So doing the math, the car hasn't been off of jack stands in almost a year. So next up, we'll be moving on to the interior removal.